The history and harmful effects of smoking cigarettes. The history of cigarettes is closely associated with the history of tobacco. While there are examples that date back to the 14th century BC, they were not smoked as most people would use them today. The history starts with the Spanish discovery of smoking by Native Americans, with its evolution through cultural traditions until it became an established part of our way of life. With great controversy surrounding its effects on health, it has undergone scrutiny throughout the last few decades, including restrictions on advertising and public smoking. Here we explore some interesting facts about this history. The history of cigarettes is closely associated with the history of tobacco. While there are examples that date back to the 14th century BC, they were not smoked as most people would use them today. The history starts with the Spanish discovery of smoking by Native Americans, with its evolution through cultural traditions until it became an established part of our way of life. With great controversy surrounding its effects on health, it has undergone scrutiny throughout the last few decades, including restrictions on advertising and public smoking. Here we explore some interesting facts about this history. Cigarettes have achieved popularity all around the world despite varying degrees to which different regions have embraced the history of cigarettes. It is perhaps more popular in some regions than others, but it has managed to develop a history for itself all over the world. There are many reasons for this history, but it can be attributed largely to their history of use before being adapted into today's current form. Cigarettes have achieved popularity all around the world despite varying degrees to which different regions have embraced the history of cigarettes. It is perhaps more popular in some regions than others, but it has managed to develop a history for itself all over the world. There are many reasons for this history, but it can be attributed largely to their history of use before being adapted into today's current form. The long-term harms of smoking can be debilitating. In addition to the physical effects, cigarettes cause negative psychological effects as well. Some studies have linked cigarettes to increased rates of anxiety, depression, and suicide attempts. Besides, it is an established risk factor for 4 major non-communicable diseases: cardiovascular disease, lung disease, and cancer. Not to mention that nicotine is addictive. Moreover, tobacco consumption is also associated with several mental disorders. The increased risk of pneumonia and tuberculosis mortality has been causally associated with cigarette smoking. Several studies have shown that cigarette smoking causes more than 12,500 deaths from these infections every year. These findings are shocking in light of the fact that smokers are more likely to develop these disorders than non-smokers. These results point to the need for a more thorough understanding of the effects of cigarette smoking and to quit for good. Children of smokers are more prone to asthma attacks and pneumonia. Furthermore, smoking damages the cardiovascular system. Nicotine causes blood vessels to narrow and restrict blood flow, causing peripheral artery disease. As a result, the risk of heart attack and stroke increases. If you have had a heart attack or had heart bypass surgery, you will have an increased risk of cardiovascular problems. It is vital to stop smoking as soon as possible to prevent future problems. The cardiovascular system is a major target. Not only does smoking affect the lungs, but it can damage the heart and arteries. Chronic smoking leads to increased risk of diabetes and the development of peripheral artery disease. As a result, this condition can lead to kidney failure, blindness, and a range of other problems. Some smokers have even undergone heart bypass surgery and still have symptoms of this condition. Smokers' poor circulation affects their heart. This makes them more prone to develop heart problems, which can be fatal. They also suffer from poor wound healing and are more prone to infection. Eventually, smoking can even prevent the onset of cancer. The long-term harms of smoking are far too many to mention in this article. It is imperative to stop tobacco use. You will not regret your decision. Apart from the short-term harms of smoking, the harmful effects of smoking affect every organ in the body. This habit affects nearly every organ in the body, including the lungs, heart, and the lungs. It can also damage the immune system and increase the risk of several other types of cancer. This is a very serious matter and should not be taken lightly. If you are a smoker, avoid cigarette smoke as much as possible. Women suffering from pregnancy complications are more prone to cleft lip and palate. Infants born to smokers also have a higher risk of developing asthma and pneumonia. These complications can be fatal, and it is highly recommended that you quit smoking completely. There are many ways to quit smoking. If you are a woman, try to cut down on cigarette smoke in public places, and make sure to avoid smoking with your child. Despite being a common vice, smoking is still a major cause of health problems. It increases the risk of heart attack, stroke, and lung cancer. It has also been linked to impaired cognitive function. Asthmatic symptoms are exacerbated by cigarette smoke. During pregnancy, a woman is more likely to have a baby if her partner is a smoker. This is a sign that you should quit immediately. The lungs. A child who lives with a parent who smokes is at greater risk of developing lung cancer. This is also one of the most important reasons to quit. During pregnancy, smoking increases the risk of developing osteoporosis and other pulmonary diseases, such as asthma. It increases the risk of getting lung cancer, which increases the risk of death. The most severe effects of smoking on the cardiovascular system include the development of a heart attack and a stroke. There are numerous harmful effects of smoking tobacco, and using a cigarette alternative will not lessen the harm. Tobacco smoke contains more than 600 ingredients, which are present in cigars, hookahs, and other types of tobacco. When cigarettes are burned, they produce more than 7,000 different chemicals. Some of these chemicals are toxic. According to the American Lung Association, as many as 69 of these chemicals are linked to the development of cancer. Tobacco smoke can cause an array of chronic and short-term health effects. It is estimated that around 16 million Americans are currently living with a disease caused by smoking. These diseases include diabetes, cardiovascular disease, lung disease, and certain eye diseases. Even more serious, smoking is linked to an increased risk of developing squamous cell cancer. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The heart and blood circulation are harmed by smoking. This can lead to high blood pressure, low birth weight, and even infertility. Women who smoke are also at a higher risk of cleft lip and palate, and they have a higher risk of miscarriage. It also reduces the fetal growth and decreases the birth weight. The smoking of cigarette smoke also increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes and a greater risk of the disease. It may even worsen type 1 diabetes. Other illnesses associated with smoking include lung cancer, esophagus, stomach, pancreas, and throat. In the short term, smoking can affect health. It causes increased risk of blood clots, which can block blood flow to the heart and brain. It can also lead to impaired blood circulation and can lead to amputation. In the long run, the damage of smoking can result in diabetes, which can increase your risk of death by up to 40%. It can also aggravate the effects of asthma in children. There are other harmful effects of smoking. The skin is affected by substances in tobacco smoke. These substances cause the skin to change in structure and make it appear dry. If you smoke a cigarette, you increase the risk of developing squamous cell carcinoma, which is the most common type of skin cancer. It can even affect your nail beds and splints. In addition to heart and blood vessels, smoking can lead to a variety of other conditions. Smoking increases the risk of getting pregnant. During pregnancy, cigarette smoke increases the risk of miscarriage and low birth weight. The infant is also at risk for SIDS and premature death. Quitting smoking can dramatically reduce your risk of developing the disease. And there are more than 30 other harmful effects of smoking. These can affect everyone. The most common are those that affect babies. But there are also some that affect adults, too. The risks of smoking cigarettes are numerous. Apart from increasing the risk of getting cancer, smoking also decreases the blood circulation of the body. This makes it difficult for the body to function properly. Further, it also causes impaired immune system. It results in a reduced immune system. Consequently, the risk of developing cancer is increased by more than 10 times. And the risks of age-related macular degeneration and cataracts are all more than double. The first and most obvious effect of smoking cigarettes is that it can lead to disease and disability. Almost every organ of the body is affected by smoking. In the United States, 16 million people suffer from diseases related to smoking. In addition, the risks of cancer are high among smokers. Several other ill effects of smoking include heart diseases, lung disorders, diabetes, and lung diseases. If a person smokes more often than recommended, it will result in increased risk of cardiovascular and other ailments. The second effect of smoking cigarettes is cancer. The chemicals in cigarettes are toxic to the body and cause many diseases. In particular, tobacco is a carcinogen that can damage nearly every organ of the body. It is one of the main causes of death in men. The risks of lung cancer are very high. Moreover, smoking increases the risk of miscarriage. This is the #1 effect of smoking. This video is only for educational use. Please consult your doctor for any medical and professional advice. Feel free to let us know in the comments. Before you go, be sure to like, share, subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to inform you when we produce another video. Thank you for watching Better Body Tips. And for your continued support.